Let me tell you something straight up. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You're stuck because of your mindset, your habits, and your circle. You keep asking why success feels so far away. It's not far. It's just on the other side of a few things you're doing wrong. And today, we're going to talk about 3 of them. Doubt is one of the most dangerous forces working against success, yet it's also one of the most silent. It doesn't scream at you, it whispers. It doesn't break the door down, it slowly creeps in and settles. Doubt shows up every time you're about to take a bold step, every time you're inspired to start something new, every time you're close to doing something different. It plants tiny seeds in your mind. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What will people say? And the worst part is, most people water those seeds every day with their thoughts and fears. They let that inner voice talk them out of greatness. They hesitate when it's time to act. They downplay their gifts. They shrink their vision to fit other people's opinions. Doubt doesn't just slow you down, it paralyzes you. It convinces you that the dream you have isn't real, that your talent isn't enough, that the path is too hard, or that you're too late. But the truth is, everyone who ever made it to the top dealt with doubt. Every successful person felt afraid. Every winner started off unsure. The difference is, they ain't let that feeling stop them. They moved anyway. They bet on themselves even when nobody else did. You can't wait to feel 100% sure before you take action because that moment may never come. You have to make moves while you're still unsure, still shaky, still uncertain. That's how confidence is built. Not by waiting for clarity, but by choosing to push forward in spite of the fog. The problem is, doubt often wears the mask of logic. It'll sound like common sense. It'll say, you should wait until the time is right, or you don't have the experience yet. But what it's really doing is keeping you exactly where you are. It's not protecting you, it's limiting you. Every time you doubt yourself, you're giving away power. You're allowing fear to vote on decisions it has no business controlling. You're letting your past define your future. But you weren't given your dreams by accident. The vision inside of you exists because you're capable of making it real. Doubt wants you to forget that. It wants you to settle for safe, to stay average, to avoid risk. But risk is where the reward lives. Doubt will always be loudest when you're closest to something great. That's not a sign to turn back. It's confirmation that you're on the right track. The bigger the dream, the louder the doubt. But you get to choose which voice you listen to. You can choose to feed faith instead of fear, to act instead of analyze, to trust your purpose instead of question your path. When you allow doubt to lead, you shrink. When you lead in spite of doubt, you grow. Procrastination is not just about being lazy or disorganized. It's much deeper than that. It's a habit rooted in fear, perfectionism, and comfort. Most people don't even realize how much of their life they've delayed under the illusion of waiting for the right time. You've got people with million-dollar ideas, life-changing talents, and powerful dreams sitting on the sidelines of their own lives because they keep saying, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week, next month, and before they know it, years have passed and nothing has changed. Procrastination is a thief. It steals opportunities, growth, momentum, and self-belief. It tricks you into thinking that time is unlimited, that you can always do it later, that you can wait until you feel motivated or confident. But here's the truth. Motivation fades, feelings change, and time doesn't stop. People wait for a perfect moment to get started, but there's no such thing as perfect time. The most successful people understand this. They don't wait. They start even if the plan isn't perfect, even if they're unsure, even if they fail a few times, they move. That movement creates momentum, and momentum builds progress. Meanwhile, procrastinators are still sitting there making excuses, overthinking, and letting fear dictate their choices. You don't need more time, you need more action. The task you've been putting off isn't going to become easier by avoiding it. The project won't complete itself, the business won't launch itself, the transformation won't happen by accident. Every time you delay action, you're telling yourself that your dream can wait. But how long will you make it wait? How long will you keep putting your future on hold because you're scared to make mistakes or afraid of judgment? Procrastination keeps you in a cycle of self-sabotage. It convinces you to delay, and then when you miss the opportunity, it shames you for not acting. That shame makes you feel like you've fallen behind, which creates even more hesitation to track. And the only way out is discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's choosing progress over perfection, commitment over comfort, and purpose over panic. The most important step is the first one. Not the biggest one, not the most impressive one, just the first one, because that first step breaks the grip of procrastination. It tells your mind, we're not waiting anymore. And once you take that step, everything begins to shift. But as long as you sit in stillness, planning and dreaming without doing, nothing changes. The pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. Yet most people choose regret without realizing it. They tell themselves they'll do it when they're ready, but readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. The only way to build a new life is to take action now, not later. You already know what to do, but knowing isn't enough. The gap between knowing and doing is where dreams go to die. Your circle can either elevate you or destroy you. The people you allow in your life shape your mindset, your energy, your drive, and even your standards. You might have all the talent in the world, all the ambition, all the ideas, but if you're constantly surrounded by negative, lazy, or small-minded people, it will pull you down without you even realizing it. Your environment is powerful. It influences what you believe is possible. If your closest friends don't believe in success, don't strive for growth, or constantly complain about life, eventually you'll start thinking the same way. You'll adopt their language, their habits, their attitudes. And that's dangerous because success begins in the mind. If the people around you keep shrinking your vision, how can you ever grow into your full potential? Some people only support you as long as you're on their level. The moment you start leveling up, the moment you talk about changing your life or doing something different, they get uncomfortable. That discomfort shows up as criticism, sarcasm, or even silence. You'll start noticing they don't clap when you win. They don't encourage your goals. They don't challenge you to be better. That's not friendship. That's friction. You can't fly when you're tied to people who are afraid of heights. Some folks you call friends are actually distractions. They waste your time, drain your energy, and fill your mind with doubts. They keep you busy with gossip, negativity, and nonsense. They don't feed your dreams, they feed your fears. And you can't grow in that soil. You can't stay planted in an environment that poisons your potential. Growth requires separation. That doesn't mean you hate anyone. It just means you're prioritizing your purpose. You have to start surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable. People who are impressed by your excuses. People who remind you of your greatness when you forget. People who are going somewhere with their own lives and push you to go somewhere with yours. That kind of energy is contagious. When you're in the right circle, you don't have to explain your ambition. They get it. You don't have to dim your light. They help you shine. The right people won't be jealous of your success. They'll be a part of it. They'll sharpen your thinking, support your decisions, and celebrate your growth. You don't need a big crowd. You need the right few. A small circle of driven, focused, and loyal people is more powerful than a large group of mediocre ones. Every level of your life will demand a better version of you, and sometimes that better version can't exist around your current circle. You can't keep running with the same crew and expect a different result. Sometimes the upgrade you need isn't in a book or a seminar. It's in your relationships. The people in your life should be a reflection of where you're headed, not where you've been. Discipline outperforms motivation every single time. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. It's easy to feel excited when you watch a powerful video or hear an inspiring story, but that feeling fades. What happens when you wake up tired? What happens when the excitement wears off and the grind starts to feel heavy? That's where discipline steps in. Discipline is what keeps you moving when you don't feel like it. It's not emotional. It's intentional. It's a decision to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Most people live their lives waiting on motivation to strike, thinking they need to feel inspired before they take action. That's backwards. The most successful people don't rely on feeling good to do good. They build routines, systems, and habits that carry them through the days when the fire isn't burning. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Discipline is showing up for yourself even when no one is watching. It's doing the work behind the scenes. It's choosing your long-term goals over short-term comfort. And it's never easy. Waking up early to chase your goals, turning off distractions to focus, staying committed when the results are slow, that takes real strength. But that's the kind of strength that builds character. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will keep you going. Think about it like this. Motivation is like the spark, but discipline is the engine. You can't drive forward on sparks alone. You need something that keeps moving, something you can count on every day. That's discipline. It's waking up and deciding that your dreams matter more than your excuses. It's understanding that every choice you make is either moving you closer to your goals or pulling you further away. When you train yourself to be disciplined, you take control of your life. You no longer depend on outside circumstances to determine your progress. Whether it's sunny or rainy, whether you feel great or feel low, the mission doesn't change. You show up. That's the difference between people who wish and people who win. The ones who win are not more gifted, they're more disciplined. They don't always want to do the work, but they do it anyway. They understand that success doesn't come from doing what's easy, it comes from doing what's necessary. When you develop the habit of discipline, you stop chasing motivation and start creating momentum. You move from emotional decision-making to purpose-driven living. You don't ask, do I feel like it today? You ask, what needs to get done today? That shift changes everything. It builds trust with yourself. It creates results that compound over time. It makes you unstoppable because your progress is no longer tied to your feelings. You must believe it before you see it. That's the rule of success most people overlook. They want to see the evidence, the results, the outcome before they commit to the vision. But that's not how greatness is built. Everything you want to become, every dream you have, it starts with belief. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. If you can't see the value in your own gifts, talents, and purpose, then how can you expect others to see it? The truth is, success always begins in the unseen. It begins in your mind, in your faith, in your ability to say yes to something even when the world says no. Belief is what keeps you going when the results are slow. It's what makes you try again after failure. It's what pushes you to keep building even when nobody's clapping for you. Too many people are waiting for validation before they move. They're waiting for someone to say, you're good enough, you're ready, you're approved. But the ones who win in life are the ones who validate themselves. They step out even when there's no applause. They trust their gift even when nobody's watching. They speak life over their future before it shows up in reality. That's belief, and it's powerful. It gives you vision in the dark. It gives you confidence in chaos. It gives you fuel when everything feels like it's falling apart. People forget that everything successful in this world, every business, invention, movement, breakthrough, started as an idea. Nothing real existed yet, just belief. The mind saw something that wasn't there and chose to build it anyway. That's what separates dreamers from doers. It's not talent, it's not resources, it's belief. If you believe in the vision, you'll find a way to create it. But if you keep waiting to see it before you believe it, you'll be stuck forever. The dream will always feel out of reach, not because it's impossible, but because your mindset won't let you take the first step. Belief opens the door to discipline, action, consistency, and growth. It makes you bold. It makes you take risks. It allows you to be uncomfortable because you know what's waiting on the other side. And sometimes you have to believe the loudest when no one else is clapping. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and remind yourself who you are. You've got to believe in your own voice, your own power, and your own future before anyone else does. That belief becomes the foundation. That belief becomes the proof. Once you truly believe it, your actions start to match, your energy shifts, and your environment starts to bend in your favor. Success requires uncomfortable decisions and bold action. It doesn't come to those who play it safe, who wait for everything to be perfect, or who avoid discomfort. Growth lives outside your comfort zone, and anything worth having demands that you make choices that scare you, stretch you, and sometimes even isolate you. People want success, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. They want the rewards without the risk, the results without the sacrifice. But that's not how it works. You have to be willing to let go of what's familiar, even if it's painful, in order to reach what's possible. That means saying no to distractions, walking away from toxic relationships, and stepping into places where you don't have all the answers. It means starting before you feel ready, speaking up when it's easier to stay quiet, and investing in your future when you don't see immediate returns. The road to success is paved with tough decisions. Choices that might not feel good in a moment but are necessary for the long run. Playing it safe might keep you comfortable, but it will never push you to your potential. You'll always wonder what could have happened if you had just been brave enough to act. Bold action is what separates the talkers from the doers. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has ideas, but only a few are willing to take massive, scary, no turning back kind of action. That's the kind of action that changes lives. Doesn't mean you won't be afraid. In fact, the presence of fear is often a sign you're headed in the right direction. But you do it anyway. You act while afraid. You move while uncertain. You choose growth over comfort. That's the mindset you need to adopt if you're serious about success. You have to stop asking for permission to be great. You have to stop looking around for approval. Nobody is coming to push you. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Your life is your responsibility. That means making the kinds of decisions that might confuse others, the kinds of moves that make people question your sanity. But deep down, you know they're necessary. You have to trust your gut, lean into your purpose, and commit fully to the path, even when it's hard. You will be challenged, you will feel resistance, and you will question yourself. But that's where transformation happens. Not in the easy days, but in the hard choices. Not in the comfort, but in the courage. Every level of success demands a different version of you. And getting there requires leaving behind the version that was afraid to leap.